So Terry O'Reilly has said that the swim, drink, fish slogan, it's more than a slogan, it's a way of life. Mm-hmm. Is that the kind of thing that resonates with you?
I think so.
Oh, of course.
Amanda always allows me to go up to James Bay a few times a year, a number of times a year, to do that, to live on the water, to live on the land. And even there, you think a place as remote and pristine as James Bay is safe from the hazards that the rest of us face down in more populated areas. But what we're finding is mercury levels out the roof in these rivers. We're finding more and more interest for damming, for mining, for extraction from the environment, and it's having a huge impact on a life of even for the Cree way up there. And so I think that it's something we really have to address.
So Amanda, when Joseph said, honey, I'm going to go be a waterkeeper, what did you think?
I thought it was extraordinary and very important. We live in New Orleans much of the year, and we are surrounded on every single side by water. So it's impossible to ignore water. And since Katrina, since the bowl of our city filled up with water, very polluted water due to some natural and man-made influences, I thought that to protect water anywhere was extraordinarily important, and Joseph's ties to the north here are blood deep, and I thought that it was a fantastic opportunity to do something very important.
Joseph, tell me about your ties, your heritage, your relationship with the water.
Well, it's interesting. My father and my mother raised us, this idea of swimmable, drinkable, fishable water. I was raised to experience in that and to not take it for granted. My dad and my mom made sure, the best memories of my life were spent on our boat in Lake Simcoe in the Great Lakes in Georgian Bay. And the idea of fishing every day, of swimming in that water, of drinking. We used to drink the water straight from Georgian Bay. We'd drop a bucket down 60 feet and pull it up and drink from that water. I'm a little nervous to do that today, unfortunately. But all my life, the water has played such an important role. And as Dr. Joe says, we are water. The majority of our bodies are made of water. And we had to look, just as we look after our own physical being, we have to look and take care of and look after our everything around us. And that's what my mom and dad taught me, and that's something that really, really continues to resonate with me.
You're an artist, Amanda, you're an artist. What is it about artists is there something about the DNA of being an artist that makes you a first responder in some ways to environmental challenges, to societal issues? Is there an artistic link there?
That's interesting. I think artists very often deal with the tangible and the sensory, and we examine what is very small and very touchable. And so I suppose when we feel something as simple and universal as water being threatened or being damaged, that there's that sensory link, maybe. Mm-hmm. I mean, it is what we're always attempting, either be it painting or photography or writing for screen or other, a novel. We are attuned to details and details as small as or as large as fish dying or waters being polluted by industry. Maybe touches us on a level that not everybody in the day-to-day notices.
I think that's an excellent point. I think that artists, whether you're a writer, a painter, photographer, you're expected now in the 21st century. You're an entertainer now. You're not allowed to be political. You're not allowed to do what the artists used to do. And we say bull to that. We're the first ones to say. And I'm not talking about enemy. I'm talking about our friends. Whether it's Ed Bertinsky or Gord Downey or Michael Winter, we know we need to speak up. The artists have to speak up because we're able to say things in a way that try to capture the zeitgeist of what's going on. And one of the most important issues right now is looking after what we have. It's a limited resource, and people don't recognize or realize that often. What we have is very limited. And like I say, just like we take care of our own bodies, we have to take care of the bodies of water around us.
I'm thinking right now about your book, 3 Mile Road.
3 Day Road.
3 Day Road, sorry. The whole, there's that long, the canoe, it's like, is there a thematic resonance of water through your work, through your life that you can point to?
I think it's often very unconscious. You know, for the Cree and for the Ojibwe of Ontario and of Canada, the waterways are the lifelines. They're the veins that run through the body, the arteries. They're the grocery stores. They are the highways. They are everything to so many Ojibwe and Cree people. It's how you get around. It's where you eat from. It's where you live. It's where you drink from. It's so absolutely vital that I think there is an understanding. And you look at something like Idle No More. This is not just a recent kind of eruption. This is something that's been happening for decades. This idea that First Nations do understand the importance of the environment because they've, for tens of thousands of years, been very close to it and living on it. And this idea of protecting the environment is massively important, I think, to any First Nations person. And that kind of comes through in my writing in all kinds of different ways. It filters up like a spring does, you know, and sometimes without me recognizing what it is.
Well, in 3 Day Road, the north running river is a path to home and wellness and healing. It's healing for his characters.
Man, that was a good book.
It was an awesome book. Totally awesome. Even if I got the name wrong, you know I love it. And I'm going to ask you a question that's really not probably germane to the piece we're going to use, but I'm interested in who knows. That spending so much of your time in America, in New Orleans, when it must provide a little bit of perspective when you look back at Canada and see and watch and witness the way we are good or bad stewards of our natural resources. Mm-hmm. What's your thought on that? When you look at Canada, how are we doing?
Well, Amanda and I live in a very interesting place. It's really not a part of America, New Orleans. It's more its own banana republic that happens to exist in America. You know, it's also at the mouth of the Mississippi River, one of the great rivers historically, imaginatively, every way you can look at it. But it's also one of the filthiest rivers in North America. And so when we look at that, and then compare it to Canada, what I'm really, really worried about is Canada is heading in the same direction that America has been heading in terms of not really wanting to recognize the importance of our natural resources and the finiteness. It's finite. It's not infinite, what we have around us. And I'm worried that Canada, especially in this last 5 years or so, is really just hurtling towards this idea of economic development at any cost. And that is really short-sighted. It makes me very nervous. Amanda bristles when I, say that, America is wrong-headed in some ways, as she should. But Canada is really kind of in a direction that I think we really need to step back and reconsider. We're heading in this, it's not economic development at all costs. It's a form of insanity to me, to pursue things without paying attention to the other half of your body,
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks, Denise.